Hello, and welcome to another Read With Me session. We are reading The Compound Effect. Such an amazing book. We are on chapter 4, and we are on part 2 of chapter 4. We broke this particular chapter up in 2 sections. It's such a juicy chapter. We decided to break it up just so we can really take in all the information that this book has been delivering time and time again. So in this particular chapter, we're talking about momentum, the power of Big Mo, how Darren likes to call it, the power of Big Mo. And when you have Big Mo on your side, there's no stopping you. This is how the rich get richer, the famous people become more famous, the wealthier get wealthier, the healthier get more healthier, and if you've ever experienced Big Mo in your life, you know what I'm talking about. Everything just flows. You might be going towards a goal. You might be, accomplishing a task, or, you're moving forward as a unit in your business with your team. And then you just are unstoppable. Like everything goes as planned. Everything hits. Everything is just like win after win after win after win. And that's what we're talking about here. In the first part of this chapter 4, we talked about how to actually set it up. Darren was mentioning how to set up a morning routine, how to set up an evening routine, and how to set your mind right. Because if your mind isn't right, then your actions won't follow through. And if your actions don't follow through, there's no way for Big Mo to actually come in and bless you, pretty much. So in this part 2 of chapter 4, we're going to get into the rhythm, finding the grooves, okay? Making sure that your rhythm is in place so you can propel forward and achieve everything that you're looking to achieve. Shall we get into it? I think we shall. Oh, and by the way, I'm Isabel. I'm one of the founders here at Billionaire. We are reading 2 books a month, 22 books for the year 2022. And we're so excited to continue moving forward with the Billionaire movement. We are here to impact the lives of billions of souls worldwide. And we're doing it through education. One of the educational tools that we use is books and reading, because readers are leaders. Okay, so let's get into it. Getting into a rhythm, find your new groove. Once your daily disciplines have become a routine, you want the succession of those steps to create a rhythm. When your disciplines and actions jive into a regular weekly, monthly, quarterly, and even yearly rhythm, it's like laying a welcome mat at the front door of Big Mo. It's like the wheels of a steam locomotive. At a standstill, it's very, very hard. It takes very little to keep it from moving forward. A 1-inch block of wood placed under the front wheel will do the job. It takes an incredible amount of steam to get the pistons to move and cause a series of connections that get the wheels to budge. It's a slow process, but once the train starts rolling, the wheels get into a rhythm. If the pressure remains consistent, the train gains momentum, and watch out. At 55 miles an hour, that train can crash through a 5-foot steel reinforced concrete wall and keep on moving. Envisioning your success as an unstoppable locomotive may help you stay enthusiastic about getting into your own rhythm. Along with my daily rhythms, I also plan ahead. For instance, I'm looking again at my goal of deepening the love and intimacy of my marriage. I designed a weekly, monthly, and quarterly rhythm schedule. Doesn't sound too romantic, I know, but maybe you've noticed that even when something's a high priority for you, if it isn't scheduled on your calendar, it doesn't often happen, right? Certainly not with the regularity you'll need to get into any kind of rhythm. Here's how it works. Every Friday night is date night. Georgia and I go out or do something special together. At 6 p.m. an alarm goes off on both of our iPhones, and no matter what we're doing, it's date night. Every Saturday is FD day, family day, which means no working. Essentially, sundown on Friday night until sun up on Sunday morning is time we devote to the marriage and the family. And if we don't create these boundaries, one day has a tendency to flow into the next. And unfortunately, the people who get shoved aside are often the most important. Every Sunday night, also at 6 p.m., we have our relationship review. This is a practice I picked up from relationship expert Linda and Richard Iyer. During this time, we discussed the previous week's wins, losses, as well as the adjustments we need to make in our relationship. We started the conversation by telling each other a few things we have appreciated about each other during the previous week, and it's helpful to start with the good stuff. Then, using an idea I picked up from my friend Jack Canfield, we asked each other, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate our relationship this week? This gets the discussion of wins and losses flowing, and oh boy. Then we discuss the adjustments that need to be made through this follow-up question. What would it take to make your experience a 10? By the end of the discussion, both of us feel heard and validated, and we have made our observations and wishes clear moving into the next week. This is an incredible process. I highly recommend it if you dare. Every month, Georgia and I also schedule something unique and memorable. Jim Rohn taught me that life is simply a collection of experiences. Our goal should be to increase the frequency and the intensity of the good experiences. Such a great line. Our goals should be to increase the frequency and the intensity of the good experiences. And once a month, we try to do something that creates an experience that has some memorable intensity. I could be driving up to the mountains, going on an adventure hike, trying a new fancy restaurant, going sailing in the bay, whatever. Something out of the ordinary that has heightened experience and creates an undeniable memory. Once a quarter, we plan a 2 to 3 day getaway. I like to do quarterly reviews of all my goals and life patterns. This is a great time to do a deeper check-in on how things are going in our relationship. Then we have our special travel vacation plus holiday traditions and our New Year's hike and a goal-setting ritual. You can see that once all this is scheduled, you no longer have to think about what you need to be doing. Everything happens naturally. We've created a rhythm that gives us momentum. Registering your rhythm. I want to share with you something I created that helps me track of the rhythm of my new behavior. I call it my rhythm register. I think you'll find it extremely helpful. Remember from earlier this book, the importance of tracking. This is how it looks like, by the way. It's a rhythm calendar or a schedule. If you want to drink more water, take more steps each day, or acknowledge your spouse more affectionately. Whatever your behavior, you've decided you need to move toward your goal. You'll want to track it to make sure that you're establishing rhythm. You can download a copy of this weekly rhythm register at thecompoundeffect.com/resources. Here's the rhythms of life. When people get started in a new endeavor, they almost always overdo it. Of course, I want you to feel excited about setting up a rhythm for success, but you need to find a program that you absolutely, positively do in the long term without renegotiation. I don't want you to think of rhythms you can do for this week, month, or even the next 90 days. I want you to think about what you can do for the rest of your life. The compound effect, the positive results you want to experience in your life will be the result of smart choices and actions repeated constantly over time. You win when you take the right steps day in and day out, but you set yourself up for failure by doing too much too soon. A friend who will remain unnamed to protect the guilty decided he was going to get in shape after seeing a picture of himself posted on social media. This was a massive lifestyle for him, and on the job he sits for at least a dozen hours a day, and he hates to exercise. Previously, he explained that he would find ways to avoid using certain dishes or accessing files if it required him to squat and bend down to get them. That's how much of an aversion he had to physical activity. Still, he made a resolution to get in shape. He joined a gym, hired a personal trainer, and began working out 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. Richard, let's call him, said, "That's a mistake. You will not be able to maintain that commitment and will eventually stop doing it. You're setting yourself up for failure." He pushed back, assuring me that he'd changed forever, and even his trainer had recommended an intense push. "I'm committed," he said. "I want to be able to see my abs." "Richard, what's your real goal?" I asked him. I knew he wasn't gunning to be on the cover of Men's Fitness. "I want to be trim," he said. "I want to be healthy." "Well, why? Why do you want to be healthy?" "I want vitality. I want to be here long enough to see my kids have kids," he replied. These were real, meaningful motivations. Richard wanted to be in it for the long haul. That meant he was signing on not for bikini season, but for a long-term commitment to fitness. "Okay," I said, "you've convinced me, but you're overdoing it. You're going to get 2 or 3 months down the road and you're going to say, I don't have 2 hours to work out. So I guess I can't do it today." And that's going to happen to you over and over again. And working out 5 days a week will turn into 2 to 3, and then you'll get discouraged. Soon it will be over. And I know you're really fired up right now. So let's do this. Do your 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for now. Take a lot of steam. It takes a lot of steam to get the wheels to budge from the inertia, but don't do it longer than 60 to 90 days. Then I want you to scale it down to an hour or an hour and 15, and you can do your 5 days a week, but I would probably encourage you to go for 4. Do that another 60 to 90 days. And then I want you to consider an hour a day for a minimum of 3 days a week, for 4 if you're feeling extra spry. That's the program I want you to work towards, because if you don't get into something you can maintain, you won't do it at all. If you don't get into something that you can maintain, you can't do it at all. I really had a struggle to get Richard to comprehend this, because at the moment he was all gung-ho. He thought he was going to be able to stick with his new routine for a lifetime. For someone who never worked out to start working out to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week is a surefire dead end. You have to build a program that you can do for 50 years. Not 5 weeks or 5 months. It's okay if you go strong for a while, but you've got to see the light at the end of the tunnel where you can start scaling it back. You can always find 45 minutes to an hour a few times a week, but to find 2 hours, 5 days a week to make your routine work, that'll never happen. And remember, consistency is a critical component of success. Here's the power of consistency. I've mentioned that if there's one discipline that gives me a competitive advantage, it's my ability to be consistent. Nothing kills Big Mo quicker than, and with more certainty than, a lack of consistency. Even good, passionate, ambitious people with good intentions can fall short when it comes to consistency, but it's a powerful tool you can use to launch the flight towards your goal. Think of it like this. If you and I flew planes from Los Angeles to Manhattan, but you took off and landed in every state in between while I flew straight through, even if you went 500 miles an hour in the air and I only traveled at a rate of 200 miles an hour, I'd still beat you with a big margin. The time and energy it takes for you to stop, repeatedly stop, and then start and get back to the momentum would make your trip at least 10 times long. And in fact, more than likely, you wouldn't even make it. You'd run out of fuel, energy, motivation, belief, will. It's all going to happen at some point. It's far easier and requires a lot less energy to take off once and maintain a regular speed, even if slower than most everyone else, all along the way. Here's the pump well. When you start thinking about slacking off in your routines, rhythms, consider the massive cost of inconsistency. It is not the loss of the single action and tiny results it creates. It is the utter collapse and the loss of momentum your entire progress will suffer. Think of a hand-pumped water well, which uses a pipe to draw water up from the water table several feet underground. To get the water to the surface, you have to pump the well's lever to create the suction that brings the water above the ground and out the spout, like this. like an oil drill almost. When most people start a new endeavor, they grab the lever and start pumping really hard, just as Richard was with his plan to get fit. They're excited and committed. They pump, and pump again. But after a few minutes or a few weeks, when they don't see any water, aka the results, they give up pumping the lever altogether. They don't realize how long it takes to create the vacuum needed to suck the water into the pipe, eventually out of the spout and into the bucket. Just like the merry-go-round, rocket ship, or even the steam engine, breaking free of inertia, it takes time, massive energy, and consistency to pump water. Most people give up, but wise people continue to pump. Those who persevere and continue to pump the lever will eventually get a few drops of water. This is when a lot of people say, "You've got to be kidding me. All this pumping for what? A few measly drops? Forget it." Many people throw their hands up in defeat and quit, but wise people persist further. And here's where the magic happens. If you continue to pump, it doesn't take long before you'll get a full and steady stream of water. You have success. And now that the water is flowing, you no longer need to pump the lever as hard or as quickly. It becomes easy, actually. All you have to do is keep the pressure steady, and to keep the pumping the lever, all you have to do to keep the pressure steady and to keep pumping the lever consistently. And that's the compound effect. Now, what happens if you let go of the lever for too long? Well, the water falls back down into the ground and you're back to square one. If you try to pump the lever easily and steadily, you won't get any water. Mo is gone. The water is back at the bottom. The only way to get it back up again is to pump it really hard all over. That's how most of us lead our lives, in fits and starts. We get a new business venture going and then cut out on vacation. We start up a routine of making 10 prospecting calls a day, strike a little gold, and then shift into neutral. We get hopped up about our new date night routine with our spouse, but in a few weeks it's back to Netflix and microwave popcorn on the couch Friday nights. I see people buy a new book, sign up for a new program or even seminar, and go like crazy for a couple of weeks or months. Then they stop and end up right back to where they started. Miss only a couple weeks of anything, workouts at the gym, affectionate gestures towards your spouse, or the phone calls that are part of your prospecting routine, and you don't simply lose the results those 2 weeks would have produced. If that's all you lost, which is the most people assume, not much damage would be done. But by slacking off for even a short amount of time, you've killed Mo. It's dead. And that's what's a tragedy. Winning the race is all about pace. Be a tortoise. Be the person who, given enough time, will beat virtually anybody in any competition as a result of positive habits and behaviors applied constantly. That'll put the mojo in your momentum and keep it there. Making the right choice, holding the right behaviors, practicing perfect habits, staying consistent, and keeping your momentum is easier said than done, especially in the dynamic, constantly changing and always challenging world we share with billions of other people. And in the next chapter, I will discuss the many influences that most unknowingly can help you or hinder your ability to succeed. These influences are pervasive, and constant. Learn how to use them, or you might end up losing because of them. So let me show you how. I freaking love this book so much. It's such a good read, and it's such a great reminder of like just doing the little things. I love the example of pumping the water, because I mean, it happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. And if you're a business owner, you absolutely know you can't stop prospecting. You can't stop doing the income generating activities. You have to keep it going, because once you have that big mo, I mean, that's how, your yearly income becomes your monthly income. And that's how you're able to just take off and do exactly what you want to do and do exactly what you said you were going to do. Okay. So I'm excited for you. I hope you got a lot out of this particular chapter. I know I did. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited to start chapter number 5 with you in the next Read With Me session. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.